When I make a series of videos and 2 of them have centered around Batman and Superman, the only natural response is to make another video in that same series, but with Wonder Woman. And today it's going to be what Wonder Woman's villains as lanterns would look like, and particularly what corps I think they would belong in. So I did 15 different villains for Batman and Superman. For Wonder Woman, I'm going to do 12, because once you depart from Batman and Superman, a lot of characters' villains become a lot lesser known, and maybe don't even have that many villains to begin with. So I went with arguably her top 12, or at least 12 characters that a lot of people will know of. So the first character we're jumping into here is Ares, and I gave him 2 rings that he could belong to, or he could even potentially use both of them at the same time. Red and yellow. Obviously, Ares does inflict a lot of fear. He's the type of character that if you see him coming your way, you might have to change your pants. And with the obvious that he inflicts war, which then inflicts fear. People get scared of that. But also rage, red, because war is rageful. It is filled with anger. It is filled with hate. Ares definitely has a fear factor center and a rageful center within him, and that's why I potentially think he could have 2 of these rings at the same time, but if not 2, one of them will do. Next is Dr. Psycho, and this is another character I've placed 2 lantern rings, and he can only do 1 at a time technically. The first color I have him as is red, and the reason why I have him there is because of his absolute unmatched hatred for women, more than potentially anybody in the DC universe. When you have that much hatred for someone or a group of people, or literally the opposite sex, you gotta think that you'd be a solid fit for a red ring. But I also considered him to be indigo, considering that ring would search him out, put him through the punishment that he deserves, and have him reform to being a little bit more compassionate. This is then a character who could look back on his life and think to himself, how could I hate women so much? I am a much better person now. So next up is Circe, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of trouble deciding which Lantern Corps she'd be part of, because I think she could be part of a lot. I did sum it down to 2, yellow and orange. I think orange or greed naturally could be a fit for Circe, considering she's a witch, and a lot of witches have that type of internal greed within them. She has a long time hatred for the Amazonians and Wonder Woman, which could also make her a little bit of a red as well. But I think a lot of what she does is because of her jealousy and lust towards Wonder Woman, maybe wanting to be more like her, or literally to be her, to have what she has. And then I also considered yellow because of the fear she obviously induces onto everyone, but the fear she can induce to men, the fact that she can take men, take advantage of them, turn them into animals or whatever other creature she wants them to be. She literally uses men like cattle, and that is pretty scary when you're going up against someone like Circe. Like I said, Circe was a little hard to say for me. You could recommend any other color, and there's no argument to be had there, but I'm good with yellow or orange for now. Next is Dr. Poison, and I have 2. She's either red or black, and the reason why I say that is because she's just hateful. She has a never-ending grudge, which could fit red. Then you have black because all she does is inflict death. She's sadistic, she's gross, not just in mentality, but what she's willing to do to people without feeling any sort of remorse or pity. And this goes for World War II Dr. Poison, and within Rebirth, her granddaughter in modern day. They're both just evil people. Now we have Maxwell Lord, and this was a character I only gave 1, in which this color is orange. I think he's very greedy. I think we can see his greed pop up in many different interpretations of the character. The minute he received his powers from the gene bomb, he became progressively more power hungry. Max is a businessman, a very successful CEO within a corporation. When you have that much power and that much skill within the world of business, you're bound to have even a shred of a greedy personality. And I'm not saying every business person is like that, but just look at Maxwell Lord. Look at the way he presents himself. Cheetah is up next, and here's another another character that I think has a bountiful amount of emotions that could mean many different things for her. But just to sum it up, so I don't go through every option, I gave her one, and that is Red. Very often when we see Cheetah, she tends to be angry and hateful, especially towards Wonder Woman. And there are interpretations of her where we see her blame Wonder Woman for a lot of the things that happen to her. Or even the fact that they're supposed to be really good friends, and Cheetah feels like her own friend has betrayed her for a various amount of reasons. I think a red ring would be a perfect fit for the character, but I also just want to throw this out here. I do think a star sapphire ring would be a good fit for Cheetah if you could find a way to mellow her out and actually converse with her properly and somewhat change her evil mentality. Another somewhat difficult character I was struggling to throw in a particular core here is Giganta, and that's why I just, at the end of the day, came to the conclusion that she would be red. I do think she can be a very angry character, especially with the fact on how she has become Giganta, needing to put her likeness in the body of a gorilla. I struggled to find a really appropriate emotion that would perfectly fit Giganta. I really don't know if there is one. Like I said, red is the best thing I could come up with here. I will say, if not red, probably your next best bet would just be indigo. Teach her some compassion. Veronica Cale is someone I thought I had pegged down as an orange lantern, but I'm actually going to change it right now to red. A lot of what the character does just once again feels very rageful, especially her hate and disdain for demigods, Themyscira, and Wonder Woman herself. She hated when Wonder Woman entered man's world. She hated the message that Wonder Woman tried to push. She hates the idea of a demigod being mortal. She just despises everything about Wonder Woman. And what really made me decide on Veronica Cale being red, a lot of the times when you're angry, hateful, rageful, you do end up alone with not many people around you, if no one at all in general. And that is what has pretty much happened to Veronica Cale in her comic history. Pretty much anyone she's ever surrounded her life with, they're gone. She pretty much has no one and will always somewhat be a loner. Now we move into Silver Swan, which is another character I gave 2 lantern rings, but the first one we're starting with here is Star Sapphire. And a main reason for this is because the amount of love this woman had for Wonder Woman before she even really became Silver Swan. She loved Wonder Woman so much that I'm pretty damn sure she actually wanted to be with her. She admired Wonder Woman a lot more than almost anyone ever has, and you could maybe even say a little unhealthy too. If you can love someone or something that much, that can be good. Maybe there's just a way you can try and funnel that love and spread it out across many different areas and people and not just focus it on one person, which starts to make it very lustful, almost like it's turning orange, which wouldn't be good. But then the second ring I gave her, which would come from Star Sapphire, her love for Wonder Woman, would then be her anger and rage for Wonder Woman. When things started to go wrong and when her relationship with Wonder Woman wasn't playing out the way she wanted it to, she despised the Amazonian. She took all that love she once had for her and turned it into rage against her. And I actually think it would be really cool to see in some sort of comic book form if Silver Swan had a Star Sapphire ring and her anger took hold of her and the pink slowly started to turn into red, almost as if rage has corrupted love. Now we move into Angleman, which was another character I struggled to tie an emotional spectrum to, but I came down with 2 options. Number 1 is orange, and that's mainly because Angleman at times in history has simply just been a thief, and he uses uses his technology and devices to steal anything he can, especially very expensive items. So orange is kind of just the surface level option I gave for him. Although the better option, I think, is actually ultraviolet, shame, the emotion of what he truly feels. What is lying so deep within his heart or locked away so deep down within his brain, an emotion that he has hidden for as long as he possibly can. What is it he truly is? Give Angleman a story where we can explore his emotional spectrum a little bit more. Now we have Dr. Cyber, which is actually the mind of Veronica Cale's friend, Adriana. When I look at the character, when you read about the character, when you see some of the stories Dr. Cyber has had with Wonder Woman, she just feels like a Terminator. She feels like Skynet. And that is exactly why I think Dr. Cyber would be the perfect Yellow Ring. She just feels like your typical humans, pathetic. I will show you what real intelligence is. Now, last for this video, but certainly not least, I'm going with Paula Von Gunther. And this is one of the 4 horsemen. I have 2 rings for her, starting off with yellow. This was a woman who was born in such turmoil and pain. And you already know, when you're in a group like that, you will inflict a lot of fear, not just on the people you will face in battle, but to the people around you. Now, whereas I do personally like her as yellow, you could make an argument for red as well. But the second ring I am going to give her is indigo, a reform, compassion. And the reason why I've done this is because I believe one of her most latest stories in Rebirth, she actually lays down her arms against Donna Troy. She comes to Themyscira so she can actually go through a reformation. So she isn't just a full-on villain anymore. She wants to be a better person. And because the actual character is willing to do that in her own life, why wouldn't she be willing to go through the process of learning compassion and being part of the Indigo tribe? So there you go, everyone. That is Wonder Woman's villains as specific Lantern Corps. Let me know in the comments below where you would put some of these characters, and other Wonder Woman villains I did not mention in this video. Also put in the comments where you think they would belong. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, everyone. Give me some other ideas on characters I could do this for, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.